Well, hi, good morning, and thanks so much for joining me here in my shop. So the radio you see in front of you here is one of the really only two radios that I have some kind of emotional attachment to. We could call this my high school shortwave radio. This is the radio I used in high school to listen to shortwave. Got this from a kind fellow who had 150 radios on the floor of his garage. And he said, "Pick one, Jim." And I looked them over and I picked this guy, and I picked it because of all these bands here. Good choice. This is actually a good shortwave radio. It's not a particularly good looking radio. So this is built in Canada by Canadians, but under the direction of a British company called PYE, P-Y-E. And this was built in Ajax, which is a small city outside of Toronto, right after the Second World War. So in fact, after the Second World War, there were some serious economic problems everywhere in the world. All kinds of soldiers coming back with nothing to do, all kinds of factories chock full of military stuff of no value anymore, and empty warehouses and empty factories too. So the policy was adopted here in Canada to encourage manufacturers to utilize this spare capacity here in Canada, and PYE set up a company in Ajax. Ajax was a military town set up to make weapons and munitions. So I've ended up with this really nice radio. Now, I've worked on this a few times over the years. Most recently, about 6 months ago, I had it in here, attempting to get all the way through it, and I got hung up. And I had to do other work. This is my own radio, so I gave it a low priority. I stuck it away, and I've been working on other things for about 6 months. Could it be 6 months? It might be 6 months. And I've brought it back in here. Now the thing is, this is a tough nut. This is a tough one. The radio is working, but the oscillator will not oscillate on the higher bands. That's what I remember of it. And it seemed like no matter what I did, I could not get this radio to work. So it is ready to come right out of the cabinet. When it does, this glass stays behind, so we lose track of all this, unfortunately. I don't know. I'm trying to decide whether I should operate it inside the radio here first. Maybe I should. Why don't we try that? So I'm going to plug this in. We have PU, external loudspeaker, and loudspeaker. So I think it goes here. PU, I believe, is pickup for a phonograph. It's the antenna connection and the ground connection. And I have a bunch of documents I've kept, schematic and whatnot, printed out. I'm going to go get them and study them up a little bit. This is probably intended for the broadcast band, the AM radio antenna. Probably a loop antenna, or this is an independent ground wire here, not related to the chassis. I don't know. Let's find a few things out here. I really don't remember an awful lot about this radio working on, other than it was painful. That part I remember, but my gosh, I've got a lot of documentation on it. I remember doing some of these things here. Oh my gosh. So the last issue was, no local oscillator working on the higher bands. There's all the voltage tests, and checking off wiring on the switches for some reason. Oh my gosh, more diagrams about the switches. I don't remember that. But you know what? That's probably a good thing. Gives me a chance to find maybe what I couldn't find before, because maybe I was blocked by existing knowledge. What you believe to be true can prevent you from finding out what's really true. Okay, here we go. We're going to try this radio out. No knobs on it. Oh my gosh, these won't turn. So there's the tuning. I can't turn any of these knobs. Okay, you know what? We're going to pull it out. I'm going to pull it out. I think that's a better move. Here we go. Okay. Oh, not well thought out here. Extensive bad landing with that little maneuver. Yeah, let's get this out of here. Okay. Pretty crazy. This radio will do better with an antenna than without. So I'm just going to hook up the red. Hook up the center conductor only to start with. We need speakers hooked up. Okay, speakers. Okay, speaker line. Let's tip this up. Speaker onto here. Okay, lots of new parts in here I put in. Okay, we'll operate it like this. Band switch. Volume control. Stiff as can be. Tuning. Tone switch. Band switch up here. I can't turn any of these knobs. Very, very hard to turn. How come? There we go. Okay, there we go. Now, speakers on, antennas at the ready. And we have this is probably the AM connection, maybe for a loop antenna or something like that. So again, just rehearsing. That's off. It's a strange series of tone settings here. And I think also we're switching phono and radio here too. Oh, this is slipping now. I'm going to give this guy a little shot here too. Okay. Switch it off. Give it some power. I'm pretty sure this was in a safe to operate condition. Just didn't work. Okay. I'm going to switch it on. Excuse me. The dim bulbs are engaged. There we go. That's showing normal behavior. You can see the panel lights are on. A little hard to see in the camera. Just a hum. Oh. There we go. Motorboating. Motorboating. It's interesting. It's just a tone control I'm messing around with. If I remember right, I replaced the volume control here. Not working out so well. Jeepers. Okay, what band are we on? So I think we're on the broadcast band. This will be a shortwave band. Yeah, that'll be the broadcast band. Never liked this radio on the broadcast band. Okay, we're going to hook up a bit of an antenna. First we'll try here. Big difference. Tune around a little bit. Well, it seems to be receiving. It's not receiving a station. I have the feeling my antenna is actually not switched on. But it's also got something else going on, that's for sure. So I'm going to go make sure that my antenna is switched on here before we carry on further. low frequency end of the band is up at the top here. We're going to get a station, it's going to be up here. Well, it's definitely tuning on this band. It's just tuning in a bunch of noise. Okay, let's try the next band up. Now that will be... what will that be? That will be, so 6 megahertz band. Of course, there should be nothing there at this time. Well, you can see it's, I think it's tuning. It's doing something. We're not going to pick up any stations here, so we'll go up. So we're at 7 megahertz band, 9 megahertz band. Might get something here. Pretty quiet.
En la página podrá descargar vídeos, programas de radio, artículos para aquellos que no saben utilizar un computador o no lo tienen. También pueden hacer petición de un conjunto en cualquier parte del mundo, completamente gratis.
Okay, next band up. Nothing to pick up. Volume down, take the ground off. Not sure what band we're on at this point. It just faded out on its own. And that's the top band. That's going to be 15 or 17. That's 21. 21, 17, and 15. So 21, 17, 15. Now this band range is probably smaller than what it actually is today. Well, I don't know. It seems to me to be working, just not working that well. The way I remember this, though, was that the local oscillator would not oscillate on the higher bands. So we need to investigate that a little bit and see what the story is with that. That's probably the best starting spot. Now this sound, there's some audio feedback thing that's going on, and I've got to guess I replaced this, which I don't remember doing, but I can kind of see from all the wiring I must have replaced it, and it's probably not perfectly appropriate. And so somewhere in here there's probably a feedback setup. Oh, what just happened now? Kind of a come and go problem. Is it really? Let's start poking. The last radio I did, the very last testing, just before declaring it finished, I found 3 different poorly soldered connections in it. Now, why did that make a sound? Why would that make a sound? I'm just bending looks like a ground tab. Fix it. I fixed it. Study this a little bit. I don't know that there's a problem here where I'm poking. Okay, could poke all day. So here we are. Radio not working all that well. Local oscillator question in my head I need to answer right off the bat. And then it's, general troubleshooting to go through this. Try to find a problem with it. I'm really anxious to make this radio work well. This is a really good receiver. When it's working, it's really good. The band spread is great on it. It's fantastic. I gotta make it work. Okay, so I've just returned to my shop after drinking some coffee, and the first thing I notice is, wow, I'm running this radio on 82 volts. That's a little too low, so we're going to run it on its full voltage and see if that makes a difference in its operation. So go down to the broadcast band. Didn't make any difference there. If anything, the operating range here is less. Okay, that's a curiosity. And now, what about the radio? I don't hear any radio action at all. Where'd that go? How did that happen? The radio's gone quiet. Because I raised the voltage? It's 112 volts now. That's still a little low compared to your average outlet. What once again I'm asking, what's going on here? Okay. It'll drop the voltage back down. I'm sure I was listening to this radio hissing away before. So I was gone for about 10 minutes, I guess. 10 minutes I left the radio operating. 79 volts now. So it's certainly, it's made a difference here, but it's not a valid difference. What? What happened to this radio while I was gone? It's just gone dead. It's gone, Jim. Off. I didn't do the band properly. That's what it is. Yeah, that's all it is. Duh. I keep looking at this and thinking that's a band switch. Okay. Now we're back to where we were. 80 volts again. But we don't want 80, we want... Wow. What was that? Might have been my switch, I guess. A little bit of arcing in the switch. Where'd the oscillation go? Oh, there it is. There's definitely something going on. Okay, I'll worry about that later. What I really want to do, though, is check for the local oscillator on here. So I have to stop again, get things ready for that. Okay, you can see my SDR up above there. I'm going to pick up the local oscillator using this coil. In fact, can you see it? Did you see it show up already? There. So you can see it very clearly now showing up. Where can I hook this where it will be not disturbed? So we have antenna, intermediate, I think, and oscillator. So we don't want to be up in this area here. Okay, so as long as we don't disturb that, we should get pretty consistent results. So now we'll tune the radio and make sure we are seeing the local oscillator. Okay, so there you can see it. That's the first band. So we'll go to the next band. The next band is 6 megahertz. So we'll jump up to 6 megahertz here. This is the 6 megahertz band. I think that's the local oscillator way out there. Let's see. Tune the radio. And there it is. What's it doing way out there? That seems kind of crazy. So it should be, basically close to half a megahertz above the target frequency. So right now, this radio is trying to tune in, let's see, half a megahertz. Yeah, you know what? That's not so bad. Maybe tuning in somewhere around here. Okay. That's okay. Next band. This will be the 7 megahertz band. Now we'll go up another megahertz here. There's a very strong local oscillator there. Stronger than the last band. There it is. And it's in, looks at a glance, looks to be in the appropriate place. Okay, we'll go to the next band. This would be 9 megahertz now. Okay, 9 megahertz. There we see it right here. Why did I think there was no local oscillator in this radio? Now there are some definitely funny things going on there on my SDR. Not to pay too much attention. These other signals that are drifting around. Let's go another band. This would be 11 megahertz, I believe. There's the band and there's the local oscillator. Why did I think that about this radio? Okay, one more band. 11, the next band would be, I have to look. Let's see. After 11 megahertz, we go up to 15 megahertz now. So it skips the European band. Okay, we're at 15. Looks like that's the local oscillator right there. Double check. Yeah. Well, there it's here everywhere. I'm sure I spent ages trying to get the local oscillator to operate here. We're up around 17 megahertz now. There it is, right here. And then the last band is 21 megahertz. A band that until recently wouldn't have had much on it. But there it is, sitting right there. Well, so much for my concern about the local oscillator. Again, all those other things that are going on, I don't know exactly what to say about them, but I believe they're just artifacts of my SDR. I'm not absolutely sure. Well, it's ranging over a very large range. So it's starting at, I'm on the 21. Let's go on to 15, 17, 15 megahertz band. Okay. Let's just look at the range of the local oscillator. So I'm at the low end of the band. So at 455, that would be tuning 14800, something like that. It's way off. That's for sure. And then we go to the high end of the band. Now it's at 16250, so that'd be tuning 15800. It's as if it's ranging too much. Well, that's odd, isn't it? Don't you? I think that's really odd. How are we going to align a radio that does something like that? Am I calculating this right? So 16250 is where the local oscillator is. Subtract 450 from it, you get 15800. It's the very top of the shortwave band today. What's it say on here? Well, how do you like that? This range goes all the way from 14.9 all the way up. Oh, that's a really big range, so this is okay. Because that would be, except for some alignment adjustments. So that's 15250, that'd be 14800. So that's not that bad. Oh, I fixed it already. I was looking for an easier project because the last few have been a little difficult. Fixed. What about this thing? What about that? And what about the fact that this is working? I'm not picking anything up at all. That's not so good either. Like, there's no antenna hiss coming from the radio. It's definitely on the antenna. Like actually making a lot of static. You should be seeing stuff jumping up and down. Well, there's definitely something wrong. The local oscillator's there, but there's no signal getting there. Is that true on every band? Let's go right to the top. Okay, top band. wire goes. So I would expect on the screen to see a lot of jumping up of signals. So you hear a little bit in the speaker. But okay, let's go down a band. Here we go. One band down. More what you should expect. Well, there's nothing on that. I'm not moving the SDR down band properly. So we're on the broadcast band. Wasn't this louder at first? Okay. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Gotta stop and think a little bit about how to approach this and see what we got going here. Okay, so what I want to do now is feed a signal into the radio and go band by band by band, pick that signal up, and then judge how sensitive this radio is based on the output of my signal generator here. So you can see it's at 6, let's put it up a little higher, 800. The signal level is controlled by, well, there's a calibration thing I've done, and then it's controlled by this decade switch. So every time I snap it, it's a 10 times increase in the output. So it's set right now for a fairly low signal, being fed right into the antenna, but I've left the ground off just for the moment. Let's see if we can pick this up. We probably can't. I'm going to jack this up. We might be able to pick that up. So let's see, 800 is going to be, I'm on the correct band. Not getting much volume out at all. And that's, I'm operating the radio at proper voltage. It just seems like while I've been in here, it's just gotten quieter and quieter. Okay, so broadcast band, let's go up higher. Should be right in this area. That's a little odd. Okay, what I'll do is I'll set this about the middle of the band, so it's around a megahertz or so, and we'll tune this guy and see if we can hear it going by. Okay, so I have a little bit of a problem here because I'm right on the band change. I can only go up to 900, so I'm going to make sure this radio is tuned somewhere below 900. Nothing. What has happened? Now this is a very strong signal, far stronger than a signal you would get on an antenna. I still haven't grounded this yet. Right in there. Now I can hear the radio's hiss going away. But the output volume of this radio has just dropped to nil. Oh my gosh, what is going on? Is the tube dying in here? Is there a capacitor that's leaked the charge? I'm going to have to turn the set off, leave it off for a while, then turn it on and see if it's different than it is now. It's a whole different ball of wax. So I've turned it off. We let it sit for a while, turn it back on in a bit, see if it behaves differently. Okay, well, it's only been about 10 minutes, but I'm going to turn it on, see if it's louder or somehow performs better. I still have the signal generator connected, and the radio is tuned to the signal generator, I believe. But I've also connected this voltmeter to read the B plus voltage. That's what this yellow clip lead is doing here. It's picking up the B plus voltage. Okay, I'm curious about that too. So this is on the 500 scale, so I would expect it to come up close to 300, somewhere up in this range when we turn it on. So we're listening and watching at the same time. Here we go. Wow, that's 400, almost 450 volts here. Now it's being pulled down. Look how quickly it came up. I'm really stunned at that. 300 now, so it's settling in at 300. So 450 with no load, 300. I'm curious if this will keep dropping off as we're fooling around here. Well, I don't hear anything. And now it doesn't oscillate. Well, I think the next logical step I have to take is to test all the tubes in the radio, which I'm pretty sure they're all tested good, but I'm going to have to do it again because I have to be sure at this point in time. So I'm going to work away on that throughout the day today, I think. And so I'm going to stop this video at this point. It's a beautiful day outside. It's 15 degrees already, and it's only, not even 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's like summer outside. So that's where I should be. So we'll stop the video here. Off video, I will test the tubes, and tomorrow we'll carry on with either a defective tube having been discovered, or the knowledge that it can't be a tube problem. Wow, okay, this has already gone in a direction I didn't expect. Thanks a lot for watching, though, and see you on the next video.